Hi guys, it's Hit from Bindaas Bollywood. I know you guys have been waiting for this one because he's one of Melbourne's favorite photographers. So please welcome Shevan Jayasingha from Shevan J Photography. Thank you so much for making the time.
No, thank you for having me, and thanks for the nice introduction.
I think you deserve a much longer introduction
Not
because,
at all, not at
we
all.
have a lot of mutual friends, but also not just mutual friends, like just mutual creative contacts, and everyone knows and loves your work. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. I know it's sad that this is like the only time we've had a chance to have a proper conversation.
I
Like,
know.
always at weddings and events, and so I was like, oh hi, and then gotta go.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, we're just talking about that off screen. It's always and it's always very formal because we have to kind of either be very professional or
Yeah,
just not try to scare everyone.
that's true. That's true.
But I know people know you through your work, but this is more about everyone kind of getting to know you more in depth. So just for our audience or whoever's watching and listening, tell us about your entire like creative journey in a nutshell. Like, were you one of those kids that used to play with cameras, or how did your artistic journey begin?
Yeah. To be honest, like I like whenever we went like on school camps and stuff like that, like I was always taking photos. And funny you ask, I actually found a photo album when I was at my dad's place recently, and it's just like all photos from like grade 3. Nothing artistic at all, of course, but just of people and
Yeah.
stupid random crap. But obviously never thought anything of it. And yeah, I think obviously growing up, you don't really think you're going to kind of end up in a creative space. As like a South Asian,
Yeah.
kind of through like a background, it's like kind of, at that time it was kind of like, no, frowned upon, doctor, lawyer, engineer, and probably to an extent it still is.
Usual Lankan stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
As for all of us.
Exactly. And there's, and they're great careers as well. But obviously it takes a lot of hard work to get into that. And then, high school, I guess, they had photography as a subject, but never really kind of thought twice about it.
Yeah.
It was just something that, I guess kind of just naturally kind of came to me a bit later on.
Yeah.
And basically after year 12 finished, I think it's when SLRs kind of started to hit the market a bit. And I was like, oh yeah, that looks cool. I'll just, I have a habit, if you ask all my friends and stuff, I have a habit of just buying random things, spontaneously. When ISO happened, I bought a keyboard.
Have you started playing?
Yeah, well, I played back in the day, like, for a while. And I thought, I've got nothing to do. I'll buy a keyboard again, start playing. That lasted about 2 weeks. Then I bought a bike, gone on like 2 or 3 rides on that.
Yeah.
So I think everyone thought at the time, oh, it's probably just another fad that I'm going through. But I actually kind of, just kind of naturally fell in love with it. And I think at the time it wasn't really a big thing. But basically I'd just go out and I'd take photos of random stuff. Like I'd walk the streets. At nighttime I'd go out to the city by myself. Just start playing with the camera settings and just things to do. And it was actually kind of like, in a way, kind of calming. You just sat there, experimenting, and there's no pressure or anything like that. So, with like a wedding, you're always on. You have to be ready to look at what's happening. And basically I just started taking photos. I didn't know what I was doing, of course.
Doesn't show from your photography, honestly, does not show.
Now I know what I'm doing. So anyone that's going to book me, don't worry. You can trust me. Yeah. And basically, then kind of led into like just taking random photos of like people and stuff. And that's when I joined another company, Bindaas, at the time as well. And then, basically it was kind of started off with, birthday photos. And at that time, like taking event photography, wasn't a big thing back then.
Yeah.
So I think we like kind of entered the market, and I joined them at the right time, where, it started to pick up.
Yeah.
And basically it started from like doing like birthdays, and then birthdays led to engagements, and then engagements led to weddings. And then I was still working corporate at the time. So I was doing project management at AXA, which is now AMP, as a BA. And basically, at work, I'd be thinking about photography, and then it was just kind of getting too much trying to keep doing both. So I thought, I'll give the corporate life a flick.
Yeah,
And
it's not an easy decision though.
yeah, well, at the time it was like I enjoyed the people. So like I enjoyed that aspect of the corporate works, and obviously Friday night drinks, mingling with people.
Yeah.
The work wasn't bad, but I just wasn't passionate. Like I knew where
Yeah.
my heart was and what he was telling me to do.
Yeah.
And obviously parents are like, no, just stay a little bit longer. Like, they're always worried. Like at the time I didn't have any like, mortgages or anything like that. So I was like, I might as well give this a go at this point in time. And if it doesn't work, then I can always kind of fall back on that. So yeah, just kind of dove in head first. And just kind of
Rest is history.
Yeah, just kind of one thing led to the other, and then
No, but congratulations on all your success. Like you've done such amazing things. Like, I mean, I've seen all your travel photos, your event photos, and they're just like each aspect of it. It's really, really beautiful. But I actually wanted to ask you, like, is there anyone or anything in particular, like even if it's a place, like what inspires you in terms of photography?
Yeah, definitely travel photography. I think that's what really caught my passion, and I still love shooting. Obviously, at the moment, I can't even travel like, outside of 5 kilometers. So I'm with, collecting cobwebs at the moment. But it's just definitely travel photography. Just I guess seeing how other cultures live and how other people interact, and it just really humbles you as a person. Sometimes, like, especially when I go to like third world countries and like India and Sri Lanka and stuff like that, I'll just go for a street walk and do some travel photography. But a lot of the time you don't end up taking the photos that you, like for me anyway, that I know will kind of look good just because you're kind of taking the moment instead type thing. Yeah. And
I actually noticed that about your photography. Like, I know there's so many photographers in Australia and so many people do events and travel, but I think what I love about your photography is you actually capture expressions really well. And I think I've said this to you, maybe in comments or in real life, like you capture animal expressions really well. Like I've seen your, sorry, I did research, also known as stalking. I had a look at your albums from Africa, and just in terms of the animals, like you have a knack for taking animal expressions, humans as well, of course.
Yeah.
But I think just animals in general, it's so beautiful, and it's very raw. And like you said, in that moment, so it definitely stands out a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, I think a lot of it also just comes down to good timing as well. Yeah. So like, there's a photo, I don't know if you can see it properly, but that's from my trip to Africa.
That's beautiful.
I had another photographer be like, you can't see it in detail. Maybe I'll send it to you later so maybe you can add it to the collection. And he's like, oh, the elephant looks like you've like lit it. And I was like, we're in a truck and you're not allowed to get out of the truck. Like it's just purely right place, right time. And in that sense, I think I get lucky a lot, just being at the right place. And and that Africa trip, was amazing. If anyone is thinking about going once all this is over, I highly recommend it. Going on a safari.
No, I've seen that photo actually, and I've seen it a bit bigger on my screen, and it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And speaking of those photos, part of my research stalking, you had a gallery exhibition, is that right? Some of those photos were. Tell us about that, because
so the place I had my old studio at, the lady there, she was running a gallery as well. And I just got back from Africa, and she was always asking me, oh, do you want to do a gallery? And I was like, oh, I don't really have like, photos to put up. I'm like, oh, it might be weird if I ask my wedding clients, oh, can I put your photo up? I'm not sure many people want to come to that. I'm not sure many people want to come and look at that anyway. So the Africa trip kind of just happened. My auntie was basically telling me she's going on a trip with all of her friends. And I said, I just do it like, oh, like I've been wanting to go to Africa for so long. And she's like, oh, you should come. There's a spare seat in the trooper. Like there's a couple of spare seats.
Nice.
So I was like, yeah, 100%. So it worked out well because I was shooting a wedding in Sri Lanka at the time. So I just flew from there to Tanzania.
Nice.
And basically when I came back, I showed her some of the photos and she's like, you have to do a gallery. And I was like, oh, are you sure? I'm like, I'm not sure. Like, I think as a, artist and yourself as a performer, you're always your biggest critique, right? So you're always like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that, the photos are that nice, or, they're not that good. Like, the ones that are like, oh, yeah, that's quite nice. Like, hang that up on my wall. And it's always interesting to see other feedback from other people. Like there's photos where I thought, nah, that's a terrible photo. And I'm sure same as you, like, if you've done a performance, you're like, oh, that was terrible. And then people are like, oh, that was so amazing, loved it, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, people see it through different eyes,
Exactly, yeah. And I think we're always our harshest critique.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll always look for flaws in our whatever craft it is, and because we know what could potentially be different.
Exactly.
Whereas other people don't see that. Yeah.
Exactly. Which it's not a bad thing, I think. Like, I think you need to have that if you're always trying to improve, your skill and your mindset as well. It's something that you really need to have. If you get complacent, then you kind of become lazy.
Yeah.
And then that's when you kind of start to, lose everything a little bit. So
no, 100%. You need that little bit of motivation. I think it's good to be confident in your work. I mean, in just general, everything in life, but if you're overconfident, then you kind of you forget to work on it. So.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And people won't like you as much either.
100%. Oh, speaking of people liking you, I don't know if you actually know this. You have a reputation for being like super kind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people have actually said this at events. I remember, I can't remember whose wedding it was. And I asked a random person, they were standing next to me, and I said, who's the photographer? And they're like, oh, that kind guy. I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. And they pointed you out. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Kind guy.
Yeah, no, a lot of people actually say that behind your back. So behind your back, it's a very nice thing to be, kind. So it's a very good thing.
Very good that I'm paying them and it's paying off. So
maybe it was one of your co-workers or assistants.
I have people that I pay just to go at weddings just to say nice stuff about me, so people will keep booking me. So it must be one of them.
Can I hire them? I need some, especially after COVID. We've all lost work, so it'll come in handy.
Don't worry. We still need to do our shoot, by the way.
Yes, definitely. And look, to be honest, like I've always so what I'm going to say is going to sound really mean, but let me explain it.
Yeah,
I've always avoided getting photographed by you. Give it a moment. Only because of everything I've said before, because you're so good at what you do and you capture the real expressions and the real moments. And I've literally said this to friends as well, and common friends between yourself and myself. I've always avoided your photography, like getting shot by you, just purely because I'm really just conscious of those, those little vulnerable moments. And because you're so good at capturing the raw, I've seen your glamorous photo shoots for weddings and fashion and everything, all the beautiful girls and everything, and they're all just stunning. But hopefully, I can keep my stage face on when we do our shoot.
We'll kill it. Don't worry. We'll do something awesome.
No, definitely put it on the list for after lockdown. Fingers crossed.
100%.
Yeah. Do you have any, like, speaking of shoots, like any particular memorable ones? I know as artists, like each event that we do and each gig there's something special about everything, but any special location? I mean, you already spoke of Africa, but was there anything else, like any other locations or events?
Yeah. So I guess, Africa was up there in terms of like travel photography.
Yeah.
Where else? Wedding wise, I shot a few destination weddings, and they're always fun as well.
Yeah.
So anyone thinking about getting married, destination,
Yeah.
I'll happily come.
In advance, because I know, like, especially in our industry, second half of next year is going to be hectic for all of us.
Exactly, yeah. Because I think, obviously, sorry, I keep going off topic a little bit, but with everything that's going on, people have obviously, postponed or cancelled events. So, like next year, it's pretty much this year all over again type thing. So, and I'm sure it's the same for you in terms of events and getting, gigs up and running again. So it's once everything's back up and running, it'll be a very busy time for all of us. So, but yeah, I think people definitely are thinking about getting, married or having events. Definitely need to start planning, you know,
Yeah.
because the stuff will end, 100% it will.
Yeah.
It
And
will.
you're a hard person to book as well, and that's another thing. So people book early for next year if you're having any events.
Yeah, well, this year's pretty much going to be next year, so
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, destinations. I shot a wedding in India in Udaipur. So like the city of lakes, I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I was like blown away. I felt like I'd walked into like a Bollywood movie.
Yeah, because they got a lot of palaces and the ancient
Yeah,
ruins, and yeah, it's beautiful there.
it was crazy. So the place that they had the hotel, they booked the wedding for at the hotel. It was one family that had that whole palace.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, and then excuse me, and then the families converted into a hotel, and then they still kept one half of it for themselves. So it's that
Nice.
big, yeah, it's that big that they can still have a hotel and
Yeah.
still live there. It was just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, that was amazing. And yeah, I did a bit of street photography in India as well, and I love that. The people there are like just so friendly as
Yeah.
well. Like I love just walking the streets, and
Yeah.
like it can be intimidating as well sometimes when you're kind of walking around with a camera and like trying to be subtle, and then you also want to respect people's privacy as well.
Yeah.
But you still want to kind of capture that natural moment of
Yeah.
So if people kind of like look at me, I'll just kind of give them a wave and they say hi or like
Yeah.
type thing. I'll try and make friends with a local
Yeah.
taking around type thing. So when I was in India, there's a tuk driver and he'd just take me up and down like, to shops and stuff. And yeah, we just started talking and he's like, oh, I'll take you around, blah, blah, blah. So he just like took me around and like, showed me like, his friends and stuff. And then it was just so like, they'd literally say, come in, have a drink, have a tea. And I was like, it's just so amazing that they have that hospitality where it's like,
That is, yeah.
no one would ever do that here.
I know, yeah. I think if you do it here in Australia, especially Melbourne, it's just considered creepy. But it's
Yeah,
so common back in India, Sri Lanka. Like if you, it's almost offensive. Like if you don't offer tea, like it's offensive to that person. Like they'll feel rude if they don't offer as well. It's just their way of life, and very hospitable and open. Yeah.
yeah. And then I think that's when you get to really know them as well.
Yeah.
So obviously some of them didn't speak English, so he'd kind of interpret. And then I'd just be like, oh, is it okay if I take that photo?
Yeah.
And then it's funny because they always put like a very kind of serious face whenever they look at the camera. And then whenever they look at the picture, they start smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
Weird thing that goes on. But yeah, like I love like India, Sri Lanka, going around there. Like I'd love to travel around India a lot more as well. And even like Sri Lanka.
So many scenic places honestly in India. I think you'll never run out. It's a place where you can go back to over and over again.
Exactly. Yeah. So one day, definitely, hopefully we can spend a bit of time there. I've got a few friends over there as well, so it'd be good just to kind of connect with them and do a shoot there. But India was amazing. Thailand, and yeah, obviously Sri Lanka as well. It's just a different feeling as well for destination weddings. I think people are a lot more kind of relaxed. Setting as well, like beachside and like here in summertime, as nice as the beaches are, you can't really have a beach wedding. It's just too hot.
Exactly. I know. It just the sun just burns. I think overseas, like especially in the South Asian countries, the humidity factors there to kind of balance things out. But here you just burn.
Have you done any gigs over there, like in Sri Lanka and India or anything? Like
no, I actually haven't. Hoping to someday soon. But no, I mean I wasn't born here. I was born in Lanka, but I've been here since I was 6. So I do go back every year, but it's been a good 5 years since I've been back. But I've never really been back to dance. Like whenever I've gone, my relatives are like, "Dance for us, dance for us." I'm like, yeah, it's just it's a bit awkward. What am I gonna do? Get up and dance on the table like a belly dancer? But it's on the list. Fingers crossed. Hoping to do some international workshops as soon as travel lifts. But fingers crossed.
That'd be amazing.
I hope so. Yeah, we'll see. COVID's changed everything. So
yeah, but it's also like a good time to kind of maybe also try something different, like international dance classes. I think especially like I've been trying to think of like other ways to try and reach different markets now as well.
Yeah.
So just depending on how long this lockdown is, and depending if we're going to be able to
Yeah.
travel, like, you know, it's just,
That's it.
you know, trying to explore all the different opportunities available.
No, I mean, we have to, right? I mean, for you as well, like, you know, being in the creative field, like, it's kind of like the whole arts industry in general, like your livelihood's just gone overnight, and it's different. I'm 5% employed still, so I can run some of my classes are online, but not
Nice.
everything.
Awesome.
But
Yeah.
let's see.
I
But
wish, yeah, weddings would be cool if I could like shoot them from here and then over Zoom.
actually, you know what? Like, I have sent your details to some people who are thinking of having like intimate weddings, and they need
Nice.
etc. You know,
Yeah.
videography and photography done.
Yeah, I've actually had a few clients that have tried to bring their wedding forward, like before this recent lockdown,
Yeah.
just so they can have less numbers at the wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, that's smart, because like a lot of the time, like,
Yeah,
it's
that
maybe
is.
auntie and uncles that may watch this, but you know, it's a lot of like parents, friends that, you know, they've never met.
Exactly.
Other
Yeah.
200 people, so I was like,
Yeah.
that's so good. Like, do it now.
Yeah.
Restrictions, you have a perfect
Yeah.
excuse to be like,
It
sorry,
is.
I invite you, and you'll save so much money on reception venues and everything.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was actually going to say that it's such a good excuse because weddings are tough anyway, organizing it. And, you know, you always do want to make cuts. So this is a perfect excuse. And also destination weddings are a perfect excuse to kind of invite those people that you really don't want there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the other problem will be that everyone will be wanting to go overseas. Like, they'll want a reason. So if people are like, yeah, we're getting married overseas, like, oh yeah, we'll come. So it might be the other way.
Let's see, huh? I was going to ask you, like, have you found anything? I mean, we all have challenges in whatever industry we're in, but what's been the most challenging for you, and like, how have you kind of dealt with it to, you know, progress?
Ooh, challenges. Good question.
You can pass if you like, if you need to think about it.
No,
Like a game show, just press pass.
yeah, I guess the starting up early, in terms of just trying to figure out if it will work, like we talked about before, that was probably like a major one.
Yeah.
You're obviously putting a lot of time and effort, and for me, it was like, okay, if this doesn't work, then I'm literally going back to square one, and I'll be behind where I was before.
Yeah.
So that was one kind of challenge that I was just like, I had to kind of weigh up the options. But I think something inside of me was just like, you know what, just do it. Like, just dive in, go all out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it now than, like, you know, when I'm like, you know, 50, 60 and be like, oh yeah, I should have tried that at least once, type of thing. So yeah, that was probably one. Another thing would probably be, I don't know, just trying to find your feet in the market. I think it's quite difficult in Melbourne. There's like a lot of great photographers out there. But I think, like, in terms of like price points and stuff like that, it's quite, it's very varied. So like a lot of people charge a lot less, some people charge a lot more. And then, so just trying to find where you kind of sit in that market. And then, like, obviously, like, you know, people always ask for like discounts and stuff like that. But yeah, and which is like, it's fine. Like, I get that. Like, you know, it's in our blood to, like, you know, what's the best price? What's the best price? You know.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes down to it, like, especially for like photography, you know, makeup artists, video, these are the things that, you know, they're so like crucial. Like, on the day, at the end of the day, they all kind of make the one element that you're left with. Yeah. All the memories.
Yeah.
So, and like for me personally, like, I put in like a lot of time. Like, for me, it's not just about like, you know, shooting and cool, that's it. Like, you know, I love to meet with my clients beforehand. You know, you do a lot of planning before the day. Like, you know, I'm happy to meet with them a lot of other times. And then on the day, you're always on. Like, you can never switch off. So from the moment you knock on the bride's door in the morning, it's like a switch, and you're just like, all right. And like a lot of the time, you know, it's like maybe like 10, 14-hour days, 16-hour days type thing. And when you first start, it's just like a shock to your system. You're just like, you don't know what's happening. And like, you know, you're driving home so tired and you're exhausted. And I think more than anything, it takes a mental toll on you as well. Just kind of being alert for that long. And, you know, you're like, as a photographer, you're not only just taking photos, but a lot of the time you're kind of you know, you're managing time, you're managing people, you're directing people as well. You're trying to think of, you know, okay, if this location's busy, where we're going to go to the next one. You know, and is there traffic? What time should we leave? You know, and then people always, everyone kind of comes to you as like, you know, should we leave now? What time is this happening? Or, you know. So I think, you know, that can take a toll on you as well when you're trying to stay in that creative mindset. You know, sometimes you're trying to be a little bit candid, and you know, people be like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. That's like, you know, at weddings, and, you know, I'm sure you've experienced it, you know, we've talked for like, you know, maybe a minute. And then, but for me, it's just like, shit, my client, I'm like here on my client's time. You know, I want to make sure I'm doing a great job. So, you know, I always say, hi, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like a very quick conversation. It's like, I'm really sorry, I got to go. Like most people understand.
Yeah, we get it. Like, I mean, you're working. It's
So I think that, because like I love like, you know, meeting new people and socializing. So for me, that was like another challenge, just being able to be like, okay, where do I draw the line between saying hi and having a conversation, you know, for a couple of minutes and then going back to work. So yeah, I think that's like one of the main challenges that I find, and I still find quite difficult, is just like coming home. A lot of the time when I jump into the car, when I'm done, I'll just turn the radio off and I just drive home in silence. Just because you've had so much like people and audio, and you're like, sometimes I get in the car and my ears are ringing, just because like, you know, a lot of time you're standing next to the DJ, like, hey, come over here. And so it's just good just to sit silent and gather your thoughts.
100%. No, I agree. I'm actually the same. Like after gigs, I don't like any music or much noise. I'm like, I've heard it for hours and hours, and especially during like event season or wedding season, I just need silence. Like you need to zone out, you need to wind down, and you need to calm your mind. Otherwise, like, you know, because you know you've got another event coming up the next day or in a couple of days, and it's just, you really need to kind of get back to yourself. And you know, like when you're at these events, it's exactly how you said it. They're loud. If it's not loud by music, it's always someone probably pulling you saying, can I get a photo? Can I get a photo?
Which is fine. I love that. Like, you know, it's just easy. Yeah, cool, awesome. You know, you just kind of click away. But I think, that was one challenge, just trying to be able to switch off. And just relax. And like, because you come home and, you know, same for you as well. Your blood's still rushing. You're still wired. Your brain's
still buzzed.
You're buzzed. You thousand, you know, thoughts going through your head. I could have done this better. What didn't work? And you're always trying to evaluate, you know, for next time. But then if you've got like a gig the next day, just like, all right, you need to get some rest and, you know, switch off and get back to it.
It's not easy to switch. How do you switch off? Sorry, random question. Like, do you just Netflix or just literally just chill and go to sleep, or anything in particular?
So pretty much basically in the car ride, it's usually pretty quiet. Or I do like jazz, so I'll try and listen to a little bit of jazz music on the way home. But then when I come home, you got to back up like all the photos. So, you know, hard drive, computer, and then I'll try and do like an offsite storage as well. Can never be too safe. So that can take like, you know, 45 minutes, like 1 hour, depending on, you know.
So you're still working when you get home. You haven't really started winding down.
So like if you finish at midnight, you might get home at like 12:30. And then, you know, like by the time you get to bed, it's like maybe 1:32. And you got to charge your batteries as well. So it's just this never-ending process. But yeah, normally when I'm backing up, I'll just put some tunes on, chuck my headphones on, and just kind of tune out, have like a glass of whiskey or a nice glass of wine, and just kind of enjoy that and just kind of go through the photos. But then my problem is when I start going through the photos, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll start editing that one. And I was like, nah, just leave it. Gotta go get ready for tomorrow.
And you gotta really train your brain, because I think it's similar for us. Like we get home from a gig and then, you know, usually I've got the video, so I need to send it to the performers as well who performed on the day. And then I'll sit there looking at it. I used to do this all the time, and I'm like, oh, I could have done that better. That lighting's bad, and this angle and all this shit. And you really got to just do what you need to do and then just switch off.
Exactly.
Otherwise you end up resenting it after a while as well. And we don't want to do that. Like, I'm glad I never got to that stage.
It's funny you say that, because I reckon maybe 3-4 years ago, I kind of really started feeling that. And I was actually like, I was wanting to do less weddings, and like I just kind of started cutting back on weddings. Because I just felt like, you know, especially because it's like weekend work, so you Friday, Saturday, Sundays, like you're missing out on like, you know, family and friends' birthdays and like, you know, special occasions, and like sometimes like, you know, your friends will be getting married and then couldn't even go to that because I'd booked a wedding, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is something that I really want to pursue, and, you know, miss out on all these other memories. So I think it's just about, for me, at one point I was just like, nah, okay, I'm going to do like, you know, 2-3 weddings a month, and then leave it at that. And then I did cut back, and then I was like, shit, I actually miss it. So it was just about me trying to find that balance and, you know, pre-plan, you know, like next year, okay, whose birthdays are coming up. I'll tell my mates, hey, if you're getting married, you need to know straight away, even before you tell like your parents or ask for permission. Give me rough dates so I can at least, you know, kind of gauge it. Or even like holidays, just random holidays. Like, you know, my mates always like, oh, cool, let's go to like Thailand or Bali or wherever. And I'm just like, I need like a year's notice so I can like book it out. I'm like, oh, maybe you can come next time. It's like, ugh. So, yeah, that's when I was like, okay, it's more about me just trying to plan life better than just resenting what I'm actually doing. Because obviously, like, I love it and I still love it. And I realized that when I cut back and I'm just kind of sitting at home, like, you know, there's days where there's nothing to do. And I'm like, could be shooting a wedding.
Exactly. No, I think we've all been there. We've all tried to cut back, and then it's just, you know, if you're really that passionate about something, sometimes there's no option. You know, you can cut back, but you'll always kind of go back, and you have to learn to just keep adjusting somehow. What else do you do, especially when you love it that much?
Exactly.
Are you photographing at the moment? Like, I know you said you got the keyboard and etc. But like during ISO, like, I mean, do you go out into the backyard and take plant photos or something?
Yeah. Look, I had like all these great ideas to be, you know, I'll do like all this creative stuff, and then I think it just didn't eventuate in me to like get up. I just didn't find, you know, that motivation to go do it. I think, yeah, like for me personally, and I put this in a post recently on Instagram and stuff, like kind of affected me pretty badly not being able to do something you love. And I'm sure it was the same for you. But I think it was just kind of coming to terms with that and then realizing, look, things will get better. We just got to wait for this to end and for people to do the right thing, and, you know, it will be fine. But yeah, I did have all these plans to, you know, try and do some like landscape stuff, but then obviously 5Ks, you can't really, you know, my 5Ks, you'll end up with photos of the freeway type thing. So, but I have been watching like just a few tutorials, trying to like, you know, just see other people's styles, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, the camera's sitting in my bag.
But I think it might be a good thing. I was talking to one of my friends who got affected by COVID a lot as well, because he's in hospitality. Like, he has his day job where he works as a chef, and then he owns his own restaurant. And he was saying to me, you know, you guys in the creative field, just think of the silver lining, because you'll never ever get a break like this. Because we're always running around on everyone else's schedule, you know, and that's how we book our events. It's never according to really whatever we want. It's according to whatever the client wants. And you know, we never really get to wind down or rest our bodies and rest our mind and really have that rest.
It's a weird, it's a good thing, but it's a weird feeling at the same time. It's just like, oh, so this is what you kind of do on a weekend. You just relax, you know?
Because, for us, there is no weekend, and, you know, it's so different for me. I'm like, some days I'm like, oh, okay, so 5 o'clock weekend, okay. Starting to get into the hang of it.
Or even just sleeping in on a weekend is just like a weird concept for me. Like, normally, like weddings, sometimes you're up from like, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's it.
And, or like even makeup artists stay up at like 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I'm just like, and to be able to sleep into like 9 o'clock is like, you know, like a luxury.
No, you got to kind of appreciate all the luxuries. I mean, I know with all the suffering with COVID as well, that's a given, but, you know, enjoy the luxuries for now.
How about yourself? Have you been like watching like other dance
Oh,
technique?
yeah, definitely. I've learned a lot, as in I've actually had the time to learn a little bit more now that I've got the extra time.
Yeah,
Because I was saying I went from being a regular business person to being only 5% employed. I mean,
yeah,
going from like teaching 6 days a week, now I'm teaching 2 days a week. So I've crammed everything into 2 days.
mm,
And then the daily gigs are gone. So I've got that spare time to actually
yeah,
take the time and learn. I did rest for a couple of weeks because I have some serious injuries as well.
yeah.
That was good, but I've actually got the time to learn some new techniques and just improve my muscle strength as well,
Awesome.
which is really good.
Yeah,
Needed to have that time. Otherwise,
yeah,
I never would have done it. It's always on the bottom of the list.
exactly, exactly.
So,
Have you had any interesting things happen over like your Zoom classes? Like, have any of your students played any
oh,
pranks or anything on you?
yeah, oh, so one got taken to hospital. No, it's not funny.
Why your
Sorry, I
dance lessons?
laugh at everything. No, she cheated during stretching. So she didn't warm up properly, so she got taken to emergency just because the parents were worried as well. She's
Yeah.
completely fine. It was just like a sprain, upper thigh strain, which was like,
Okay.
I think for a child, it can be scary when something's suddenly painful and
Yeah.
the pain won't go away. So I
Yeah.
think as adults we adapt and we know, okay, that'll be fine in a couple of
Yeah.
days, or that'll be fine with this stretch or medication. But
Yeah.
yeah, but apart from that, no weird stuff happening on Zoom. I know when Zoom first started kicking off, there was all these viral videos going around of people accidentally changing or going to the toilet with the camera on. So nothing extreme like that.
Yeah.
Bumping into shit. So keep bumping into the wall because we're used to having so much space,
Yeah.
and you have to change your spatial awareness. Plus, the laptop is completely different to dancing at a studio in front of a mirror. So
Very true.
each one of my students are like this big when there's so
Yeah.
many of them on the screen. So sometimes I'm too busy looking at them and I've gone and like smashed my toe and like the other couple of weeks ago, my toe was bleeding for so long. There was like blood on the wall and on the floor.
Oh,
I didn't even notice because I was so
you're
focused on,
so focused. Yeah.
yeah.
You're committed
Oh,
to your art. That's good.
sorry.
You're very committed to your art. That
Yeah.
you
So
notice
much so
anything.
that I create art on the floor with my blood. But yeah, no, I mean, there's, downside to everything. But yeah, I think coming out of COVID's going to be different. I've had a lot of life
Mm,
changing stuff personally as well. So, but
yeah.
yeah, let's see. Fingers crossed that
Yeah.
everything.
It's just trying to take it day by day, and yeah, I think it's just also just an important time for everyone to check in on their friends as well. um, Especially those, like maybe living by themselves, or like, people that have been affected. Because like I know, like out of my mates, pretty much they're all working from home, so like they still have that 9 to 5 kind of routine.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, it's just like at the start for me, it's like, okay, get up. What can I do today? Like just sit in front of the TV. It definitely does take its toll. So I think it's important for anyone out there, just pick up your phone, text your friend,
Yeah.
your parents, whoever it is, just say hi and check in on them.
Yeah.
It's such an important thing, especially at this time.
It is. I think it's so important, and thank you so much for like raising that, because I think it's really important, especially a lot of males don't tend to reach out.
100%.
When you compare the genders, they feel a little bit more hesitant to be
Mm,
vulnerable, and I think it's really okay because COVID is so fucked up in so many ways that you really do need to check in on people and never be just scared to say I need help or I need
yeah,
to reach out. Like personally, I had to do that a few weeks ago. I was in such a dark place, and I messaged a few friends and I said I need help, like I need you guys in my life right now,
yeah,
checking on me every day just to make sure I actually get the fuck out of bed.
yeah,
And
100%.
just, yeah, don't
Yeah,
be scared to reach out. Anyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. And I think it's so crucial. And I think this month is Suicide Awareness Month as well. So like for me personally, like I've known, I think it's about like 5 people now, 5 guys that have taken their own lives, and it's 5 too many. One of them was super close friend as well, but and recently, someone else, my sister's partner's best friend as well, and it's just it's so sad, to try and think that they would be that sad and low, in their life that they don't think they have anyone or that they can't reach out. So it's really crucial that you just pick up the phone and just check in on people and say, hey, even just have a bit of banter with them, make a few jokes,
that's it.
Can make all the difference. A simple hi type thing. So very important.
No, I completely agree. We need more of that. I mean, in general, but especially now. Yeah,
definitely. And for guys as well, like I'm for one, I hate talking about feelings, and I'm sure most guys, boyfriends, husbands, whatever, it's always just, why would you talk about your feelings with me, blah, blah, blah. But I think, for guys, if you can't talk about it, to your partner or, just speak out to your mates, just be like, you know what, I'm feeling shitty, or
that's it.
Just not feeling right. That's all you need to say, and just, talk about it, see what you can do, go for a walk. I think it's really important to, try and get into a routine of just going outside, especially when you're confined at home. Just go outside for a bit. The sunshine can do so much benefit to you. Not only vitamin D, but you feel better just exercising and walking.
That's it. No, 100%. That fresh air. And Melbourne's been good. Melbourne's actually been kind with the weather. So before it changes, which it usually does. So Melbourne weather's so bipolar. Take advantage of it while it's sunny. Yeah.
Definitely.
I was actually going to ask your expertise on something. So for people that are wanting to start out in photography or say they want to do it as a full-time career, do you have any advice for, anyone of any age? Any tips?
Don't do it. Just, I think, a lot of people always ask me, what's a good camera to buy and what's a good lens. And to be honest, at the moment, you can print all the cameras out there. They're great. It's more about just trying to finding out, you can get a good base camera, and then just going out and just shooting, everything and anything. Like I said, when I first started, I was literally in my dad's back garden, just, taking photos of trees and bugs and, random stuff. And then, you kind of just find your own way from there. And obviously watch reviews and tutorials. Obviously with all things on the internet, everyone has their own opinion. So it's more about just going out there and finding out what you like and seeing what works for you best. For myself, I shoot with Canon, but then other people Canon, they're overpriced, so it's this and that and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. that's your opinion. I personally like it. So, and, but it's a great hobby to have as well. Even if you are working full time, just pick up a camera, start taking photos, of, your pet and stuff like that. And that's how I kind of started doing shoots for RSPCA as well. Which is cool. So that's another fun part of the job that I really love. Getting to shoot all the, I shouldn't say shoot at the animals. Doesn't sound correct.
I know what you mean.
Photograph the animals, which is kind of cool. So, and I just found out today that possibly the Herald Sun might be running one of my photos for Cupcake Week. So fingers crossed.
Nice. Congrats. I mean, you've been in lots of magazines and etc.
So.
Was it Vogue or Kush or something?
Kush magazine, picked up a wedding. But Vogue, for me, Vogue was a big one because I never thought they'd have a South Asian wedding, or a brown person, on one of, because Vogue's,
But no, that's big stuff. Congrats, man. That's amazing.
So for me, that was, that's definitely been a highlight, being in Vogue. Sabyasachi as well, regrammed a few of my photos as well. So
that's massive. He's just...
he's absolutely amazing. They're amazing outfits. For anyone that can afford them, buy them.
I hope they have Afterpay soon. Fingers crossed. But no, congrats on all the success, and thank you so much for taking out the time. We have a little word game. It's mostly finish the sentence or multiple choice. So they're all hypothetical. So,
Okay, cool.
so I mean, you don't have much time to think. So whatever you answer is kind of like it's stuck online forever. So it
This
might
could
be
be
good.
very dangerous.
Sorry.
This could be very dangerous.
It might be, but at the same time, I mean, look, it's something you can go back and look at it and listen to it and just laugh.
Yeah, cool.
I can't believe
Awesome.
I said that fucked up shit. But anyway.
Wouldn't be the first time, don't worry.
Okay, first question. First place I will go after lockdown is?
Ooh, my mum's.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, hypothetically you're on a first date.
Mm-hmm.
For some unknown reason, you've taken your best camera and best lens with you.
Mm-hmm.
Your date drops it. Is that a deal breaker?
Ooh, was it intentional? Was it that bad that she dropped the lens? No, I wouldn't be. I'm pretty like chilled when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know, laptops are broken. I'm just like, you know what? It's just
Yeah,
material.
but this is like your favorite lens, no?
Yeah, no, I'm like, it's just a materialistic thing.
So the kindness reputation. Yeah.
Insurance is the key.
Okay, so after lockdown, you've been given a plane ticket and you've only got 3 choices. You can go to Iceland, Argentina, or France.
Iceland.
That was my choice as well. I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, I'm dying to go.
Yeah, I think it's got so much beauty, and I think for you especially, amazing scenery, and just amazing, like architecture as well. Yeah.
I had a friend go and like he loved it, and like he took some amazing photos on his iPhone. And I was like, I don't even need to take a camera. I'll just take my iPhone. And to be honest, like when I go traveling, a lot of the time, I'm just using my iPhone. Like,
oh wow, nice.
yeah, it's just
I mean,
like
phones
Europe.
these days are amazing.
So what was that?
Phones these days are amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so easy. And like with your camera, you always have to think twice about like, you know, carrying it and like, you know, someone stealing it. With your iPhone, it's just like you pull out, take it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had trouble? Sorry, random question. Like with traveling, like luggage, like does the fragile sticker actually work?
I don't think it does. I had to go shoot a gig up in Sydney and got my bag. I had to check it in because it was too heavy. I always try and sneak it in on hand luggage, but this time they're like, no, you got to check in. So I was like, shit. So I was like, look, there's camera stuff. Just be careful, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, got to Sydney, opened the bag. I'm like, cool, everything's there. Got to the gig and I pulled out the camera and my whole screen had cracked. And I was just like, shit. Luckily I shoot with 2 cameras. So I pulled out the other camera and shot with that. And then another time I was shooting a wedding in Lanka and I was coming back to Melbourne and same thing. I tried to check it in hand luggage and they're like, nah, it's way too heavy because it's like 15 kilos. Yeah. Typical curry, just trying to sneak on like an extra 20 kilos. And I was like, same thing. I was like, look, it's my camera gear, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, don't worry, it'll be fine. Anyway, so I get to Melbourne and I'm waiting at the carousel, just waiting. Everyone's getting their bags. I got my main suitcase, still waiting. And I was like, oh, maybe they put it like in a special, like, you know, they're oversized and, you know. And then I get a little ding, ding, ding.
Oh, crap.
Saying, can you please come to blah, blah, blah. So I go there and they're like, yeah, we can't find your other bag. And I was like, and I lost my shit. I was like, you made me check it in, blah, blah, blah. I told them it was camera gear. And they're like, yeah, look, we're unable to locate it at the moment. Hang tight, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just like, this is ridiculous. They had all my gear in it. Stupidly, I put all my gear in there. Luckily, I didn't have any gigs when I came back straight away. And then literally 2 days later, they called me like, oh yeah, we found your bag. It's gone to some like unknown country. And they're like, it's on the next flight back to Melbourne and we'll express ship it back to you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, thanks.
How was the equipment? Was it all safe?
It was all there, yeah. Luckily, I put a padlock and stuff on it. So it looks like a little backpack, so it was fine. Yeah.
But as long as nothing was damaged, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're the only 2 bad things.
All right, sorry. 2 more questions. For some unknown reason, again, hypothetical, you're sent to an island, deserted island, and you can only take 3 things. Hypothetically, your friends, family, all the people you love are already there, and your camera.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah? So, what other 3 things would you take?
What other 3 things would I take? Probably take one of my dogs.
How many do you have?
I have 2.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But they're my parents' places. Yeah,
Okay.
they're not. Yeah, yeah, because I'm renting here. So kind of dogs here. That's one. The other boombox to play music. And the third, I don't know.
Food's already there. You don't need to worry about food, obviously. So
Oh yeah, food. Yeah,
family,
yeah,
friends are there.
yeah. Is there one more?
Yes, so you said dog, boombox, and
And are there any like cutting instruments, anything over there, like knives and stuff?
self-made, whatever you can
Uh,
do.
I'd probably take a knife, only because like in my so much downtime I've had, I've been watching like Channel 9 Rush, and they've got that show Naked and Afraid. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever seen it. And basically, this is how bored my life has got. So I've been watching Bear Grylls and like, like, oh, what would I do in that situation? They always take a knife. So I take a knife. But yeah, pretty much backstory. There are two random people,
Yeah.
and both of them get naked,
Yeah.
and they're each allowed to bring one item each, and they have to survive in a remote location for 21 days.
Holy shit. That's a
Yeah.
long time. So
Yeah.
it's 21 hours. Oh,
Nah, 21
yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they literally have to build their own shelter, get their own food and stuff like that. And yeah, people end up in hospital and stuff. It's crazy.
Oh. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like a survivor slash like a naked survivor.
Yeah. But it's like full on because they're literally in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Did they survive?
Yeah.
Or
Like
did you
most of the
watch
time
it?
they do, but a lot of the time they end up like eating random shit they're not meant to. So they end up in hospitals. So they have to get evacuated out. One guy ate some random mushroom and had to get his stomach pumped and started hallucinating.
Oh. So it wasn't the good mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly.
That meant nothing, children. Don't know whoever's watching.
What did you put in your cooking?
Yeah, exactly. All right, last one. If you could make one rule or law for society, what would it be?
Just be nice, be kind to people.
Yeah,
Simple.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Too,
think
too many.
simple but the most effective thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you be kind to one person, they pay it forward, and just like a little, like, there's no need for anything else. Just,
Yeah,
we all live once, we're all in it together.
yeah,
Just
that's
be
it.
nice to people. Yeah.
No, beautifully said. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone who's watching, we're going to put Shevan's details below, so make sure you link up to all the social media pages and book your events early.
Yes.
Thank you so
No,
much.
thank you for your time. It's a great thing that you're doing. So I really
No, I
appreciate
think it'll be really inspiring and motivating for people who are, just generally interested in the creative industry, but also people that are wanting to start out in photography as well.
it. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, let's see up a time once everything's done. And yeah, we'll organize a few shoots. So
100%. Yeah.
kill it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. We'll
All
see
right.
you at the next event.